so great to see you, and it's so great you're here, and it's always so fun to have you here. Oh, I love Gabriel so much. But my question is for you. And you just reversed it on us, as if I paid you to do it. All right, now, what is your question for me?
My question is about the King of Con.
Kings of Con, yes. Thank you very much.
We saw the video of Matt naked running on the streets.
Matt Cohen running naked through the streets, yes.
And also that the people in the street were not really happy.
Not so much, no. Turns out.
So we wanted to know if you had any story about that.
Yeah, listen, here's the thing. Do you know about the Matt running naked video?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, Rob and
I want to.
Let me give you a little backstory here. Rob and I created a show about sort of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm meets the convention world called Kings of Con. We shot a 10-minute teaser. We did an Indiegogo fundraising campaign to create the series itself, which was incredibly successful thanks to the loving and generous support of the fandom. So thank you, for starters. And when we announced the campaign, we were in Seattle at a convention. So we literally dropped the campaign online, and that night was the karaoke party of the Seattle Con. And Matt Cohen, who was heretofore not contractually obligated to do anything, said, as we did like a little announcement video, he said, our original target goal was $100,000, as we set our benchmark at. And Matt said, I'm telling everyone right now, on film, that if they not only reach $100,000, but hit the goal of $200,000, which he made up, I will run through the streets naked. The crowd cheered, like a crowd would, if Matt Cohen said anything about nudity in himself. And we posted it online as fast as we could to sort of seal the deal. And so Matt talked himself into a contract of if you hit 200,000. So, long story short, we got the 200,000. So then we had to go film Matt running through the streets naked. And we did 2 cameras. We had, I had a guy like set up at an intersection so we could like do a long lens and widen out as Matt came around. And then Rob actually jogged aloud beside him with his phone, kind of doing the interview portion of the program.
Tell me Rob had his clothes on.
Thank God, yes. People would have demanded a refund had we. So we were strategic about what we picked. You know, somebody asked me earlier this morning. They said, "Why did you pick such a busy street?" Because it's a man running naked through the street. And it wasn't a busy street, but there were houses on it, you know. And I said, because I feel like if we'd taken him out to the desert, which we could have done, people would have felt like it was a ripoff. Like running through the streets naked. Well, anybody can run through the streets naked if there's no hazards in your way. There's nobody out there but 2 weirdos with a camera, you know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. So we picked a fairly quiet neighborhood, and we picked it like middle of the day so kids would be at school and we wouldn't hopefully offend anybody. We had 2 small snafus, as you do. We did 1 take of it. You know, we just wanted to film it and be done with it because Matt was not going to do a second take. We had the first thing which we had to cut out this part of it was a U.S. A postman, a mailman, who's a federal employee, drove his truck by and was pissed off. I guess he's not a fan of Matt Cohen's nudity, but he was like laying on the horn and like, and we're thinking this guy could be radioing in the choppers. We don't know. So he was honking and being really PO'd, and that kind of threw us off. Like
That man's PO'd.
Say it again.
Post office.
He was really post office. We were afraid he was going to go postal. So that was upsetting. But then he drove on. And then we thought, okay, we're fine. We'll just continue the run. And then just some random guy going to his house or whatever in his Prius pulled over and just rolled down the window and started cursing the blue streak at us. Like, what the bleep are you doing? This is a nice neighborhood. Get the bleep out of here. Bleep you. And I kept saying, Rob Benedict, sir. Rob Benedict. Rob Benedict. Because the last thing I wanted, I wanted to be Rob my human shield. Yeah. So he was annoyed. But we also decided that it was A, he was not a federal employee, and B, it was funny if we just bleeped it out, and so we kept it as part of the video and bleeped it out, and he gave us the finger, and we blurred that out and all kind of stuff. So that made for a fun time. And if you watch the video, like he drives by and takes off, and then he makes a U-turn and comes back to get more mad at us and tell us where he thinks we should be and what we should do with ourselves, and makes a corresponding gesture. So it was made for a very relaxing afternoon. I was a real tense wreck. Rob was surprisingly relaxed, and if you've seen the I don't know how many of you have seen the full teaser of Kings of Con, but Rob at one point is wearing a piece of paper. Like he tosses his robe and he's nude and he's basically wearing nothing. And then Matt Cohen being naked, he thought I was being uptight, worrying about the traffic and kids and stuff. I realized Rob's very comfortable around nudity, more so than myself. I've learned something about Rob. He's a freer spirit than I am, as it turns out.
I would just like to say that I wish I had known about this because I would have contributed $300,000 to not see any of them.
Yes, I know. And typically I would say it was foolhardy, but in this case, money well spent. There would be money well spent. Anyway, thank you for your question, and thank you for bringing up Kings of Con. Appreciate it. Thank you.